The CEO of Job Creators Network, Alfredo Ortiz, is with us right now. Alfredo, Happy New Year to you, buddy.
Hey, Happy New Year to you, Bill. I hope all is great and 2020 is looking great for you.
Hey, for all of us, I think it's going to be an excellent year. We're starting out in a very positive note. The jobs report came out, and you want to talk about the real unemployment rate. So we're going to get into this a little bit more because you say it's a record low 6.7%. Break that down for us, if you would.
Yeah, well, this is the exciting part because this is where you really start seeing how all parts of the economy, all demographics are working. I mean, first of all, overall, Bill, I mean, when you look at the unemployment rate, again, 50-year low, 3.5%. But I want to break it down by demographics really quickly, and then we'll get into the real unemployment rate. When you look at whites, for example, 3.2%, blacks 5.9%, Asians 2.5%, Hispanics 4.2%. Women, 3.2%. I mean, these numbers are unbelievable. Over 7 million jobs have been created since President Trump was elected in office. And when it comes now back to the real unemployment rate, that's what's exciting. It fell to 6.7%, lowest level on record. And what is that basically? These are basically discouraged workers, what they call discouraged workers on part-time for economic reasons, really didn't wanted full-time but couldn't. That fell to that record low of 6.7%. And what we're seeing, Bill, we're seeing folks who were part-time workers moving to full-time workers, and that's because job creators, employers are feeling great about the economy. They're feeling great about their business. Tax cuts and, frankly, the cutting of the red tape led to a lot of this growth. And these businesses are feeling great. They're reinvesting in their tax cut in their businesses. They're hiring, and that's why we're seeing the numbers that we're seeing. It's unbelievable, and I actually think 2020, Bill, is going to be even better than 2019.
Exactly. If we could get everybody on the same foot, could you imagine if we had a little cooperation there on the Beltway, what these numbers could look like? And we're not talking about for Republicans or Democrats. We're talking across the board for all Americans. Alfredo, you and I last year talked about this unemployment, the real unemployment rate and where it was at. And some of the headwinds against that was the fact that you had a black market, so to speak, of employment. And that is where the people, in order to survive, the Obama administration said, well, these discouraged workers just decided not to work anymore. Well, like what? You're going to decide not to eat anymore?
Right.
I mean, you still got to feed your families. But they didn't want to talk about the black market that was generated because of the policies of the Obama administration. They were forcing employees to work under the table, and so they're not paying. They're not paying any taxes. They're looking to survive. And boy, the estimation of the number of people that were in that group was in the multi-millions. And my concern was, how are we going to bring them back into the fold? Well, as you just pointed out, is you give them a good job, you raise the level of confidence for the employers, and these people are realizing, I'm saying these people, the employees who became disenfranchised are coming back into the fold where they need to be and contributing to the greater good of all America.
Bill, absolutely, that's correct. And when you look at it, and where is that job growth? It really is happening in the hands of small businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't, if you talk to Warren and Sanders, this is an economy and this is really only for the top 1% and the billionaires and all this stuff. This economy is really about everybody, and I really want to focus on the small business owners, right? Because they are the true job creators in this country. Two-thirds of new job growth, Bill, is in the hands of small business owners, and they're the ones that are really feeling the positive impact of the economy. They're feeling the large businesses are growing, and when large businesses grow, guess what? Small businesses grow with it.
Exactly.
And and that's what people fail to understand. I mean, we go back to when things were bad, right? I always point out the Christmas parties that ended up getting canceled because large businesses couldn't afford them anymore. Guess what it impacted? It was the deli owner, the pizza guy, the bakery guy, the delivery folks. I mean, all these small businesses that were impacted. I mean, I go back to the ridiculous nature of the AOC thing back in February, Bill. Remember, we put up that billboard in New York,
right,
where AOC was claiming 25,000 jobs, basically, that Long Island City lost. I said, But what about all the other jobs related to it, right? All the small businesses that were going to come with it. And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing the robust growth of all of these businesses growing. And I have to tell you right now, the only reason I think we saw a little bit of softness in that number, the 145,000 on the job market number, net new jobs, is because I think we're getting to that point where we're really lacking a skilled labor force. This is where I think employers are really starting to hurt. They're finding it very, very difficult to fill their jobs because they just don't have the skilled labor force. And I just wish the Democrats would start taking their focus away from that fight for 15, which is just ridiculous, trying to mandate federally these $15 wages when the economy is taking care of that itself. We should be focusing on skills training for the less skilled workers. And in particular, those folks, let's say, who are 25 and over making these minimum wage jobs. We can tackle this, Bill. We can tackle this as a country. There are only about 165,000 people, for example, in that category. We should all be getting together and not do what the SEIU has done over 7 years and spent over $100 million trying to fund that fight for 15 just to try to unionize people. I think this is where it's really hurting our economy. It's really hurting our country now, and we should just really focus on the skills training. That's what I would love to see in 2020.
Well, and the thing is that the vision is clear on that, Alfredo, is that there's gold in them there hills, because what we're talking about is not minimum wage jobs. Forget about minimum wage. I mean, you have an opportunity to blow the doors open, and that's what's happening with a lot of people, is that they're upgrading. You know, the good employees out there, the ones that show up for work every day. You know, I think I may have shared this study with you. This was done years ago, a U.S. labor study, said if you showed up for work every day, you were in the top I think it was like the top 25% of the U.S. labor force, just showing up for work, okay? If you showed up for work every day on time, you were in the top 10%. If you showed up for work every day on time, had an idea of what you were going to do, you were in the top 5%. If you showed up for work every day on time, had an idea of what you were going to do, actually set out to do it, you were in the top 3%. If you showed up for work every day on time, had an idea of what you were going to do, set out to do it, actually accomplished it, you were in the top 1%. I mean, think about that. The opportunity for an employee who's a good employee who does and follows that recipe. I mean, the world truly is their oyster. I mean, what businesses are not going to want you on their team?
Man, I tell you, that's absolutely right, Bill. And this is where we really need to do right by all Americans to make sure they all have the opportunity. And if for some reason, for example, they don't have the skills training that they needed, the system somehow left them behind out of no fault of their own, let's do the right thing and let's give them the skills that they need. Because here's the news flash to all these progressive Democrats out there fighting for these minimum wages, right? Let's say you get somebody else who's flipping a burger who's 25 and over 50 cents or 75 cents more an hour. Is that really changing their lives? Is 75 cents an hour really going to change their lives? No. Get them the skills that they need to get into these $50,000 per year jobs, HVAC technicians, nurses, journeymen. I mean, you name it. I mean, these are the jobs we should be really helping folks to get, because that's what's going to start changing their lives, not an extra 45 cents, 75 cents an hour flipping a burger.
Yeah, well, those jobs are being automated. You know, welcome to the world of AI. So, we need to see what's happening on the horizon here. You've got good employees who have been flipping burgers, and hey, all that's fine. But guess what? You have a better opportunity. And as you say, 25, 50, 75 cent wage isn't going to help them a whole lot, but you give them something to where they're starting to make 20, 25 bucks an hour and beyond because they've had a little bit of skill training. We're not talking about a 4-year university degree. We're talking about specialized training here, which is what the market is calling for right now, which opens the doors for really an incredible amount of opportunity. And I agree with what you're sharing with us.
You know, Bill, I say follow what the good book says. Teach a fisherman how to fish.
Amen. Amen. I'm right with you. And oh, yeah, there's plenty of fish out there, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be a great year. I'm telling you, Bill. Again, when you think about the, Federal Reserve finally turning course on really disastrous policies that did in 18, the USMCA deal, hopefully being signed off on phase 1 China deal. This is going to be a great year, Bill.
Well, again, I've been encouraging our audience, Alfredo, is that now more than ever, critical thinking needs to be re-engaged. And the one filtering question that we need to ask on all these policies, and even the people that we elect to office here, are we going to have more or less freedom? Are we going to be able to enjoy more or less of the American dream that our founding fathers had for us when they gave us those incredible documents titled the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, right?
Absolutely, Bill. Amen to that.
Amen. Alfredo Ortiz, President, CEO of the Job Creators Network, right here on Bill Martinez Live. Alfredo, have a great year, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, you too. Talk to you later, Bill. Bye-bye.